Thank you, Holly. And thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon, either after your lunch or maybe during your lunch. So we do appreciate you taking this time to learn a little bit about the CAPE Consortium Leadership Academy. I am excited to share with you some of our facilitators that have been with us from inception and then some of our newer ones. Sherry Watkins is the Executive Director from the State Center Adult Education Consortium. And she is joined with Dr. Anna Marie Montañez, and she is a principal of Jurupa Unified School District. Dr. Heather Malloy, who is unable to be with us today, but definitely a strong member of our team, is our consortium co-director, project manager for the Delta Sierra Adult Education Alliance. And last but not least, James Hayes, education specialist of Sage Business and Education. They are our facilitators of our Consortium Leadership Academy. And we are actually in that point where we are exiting our 2024 cohort. It's our inaugural graduation and just a month and a half away. And we're excited to share with you what the Consortium Leadership Academy is, how it can support you, and the intention in which it was really created. So I think next slide, please. So the Consortium Leadership Academy, as I just mentioned, really started, I want to say, about a couple of years ago. And it was devised with an advisory committee. And that advisory committee is pretty large. I'm going to read through some of those names. Some of you may have, oh, thank you, James. So this is the advisory committee. So there are people on there that you may know very well or just have heard of. Annabella Rodriguez, Guillermo Mendoza, Jody Slider, Karen Holder Jackson, Kimberly Hagland, Marina Washburn, Mitch Rosen, Rochelle Modena, Renee Collins, Ryan Whetstone, Sherry Watkins is here with us today, Uta Maseshki, I don't know, sorry about that. And then Dr. Veronica Parker, who was my predecessor. So there are a lot of people that were a part of designing the Consortium Leadership Academy. And with that, it was really intended in a response to build the capacity for our consortium leads, our directors and our co-chairs, to effectively lead the consortium through a systematic student-centered approach. And so with that, I think I've touched on everybody and everything. I really appreciate the thought behind this, and we're going to go into a little bit more of what the CLA is.
Thank you for that, Mandalee. I think it's my turn now, right?
Yes.
So thank you for that, Mandalee. My name is Anna Marie Montañez, and as Mandalee said, I am a principal for Jurupa Adult School. This is my 7th year there. Have about 25 years in adult education and 30 years in education altogether. So super excited to be a part of this. As you said, I'm one of the facilitators who's been here since the inception. So we've really been working hard to modify and to make sure that this experience for you is the most effective and most productive use of your time. So with that, we just wanted to talk a little bit about what our program is, how we developed it, and some of the learning outcomes. So as you can see there, it's really to develop your leadership, looking at research, looking at theory, at best practices. A big component of it is looking at your leadership strengths, looking at your team's leadership styles so that you are able to be more successful. Really creating this community. So as you know, those of you that are in this position, it's a very unique position, one that you do not, have someone that you can lean on, and it can be a very lonely position as well. So what we've really been trying to do is establish this community of leaders where you have someone to go to. We also serve as your mentors in this process. So you can come to us. We establish groups within our cohort, and just gives you a real opportunity to share your experiences, share your challenges, and just be able to, bounce ideas off of your colleagues. And then understanding what the role is, what your role is, and how you can better serve the educational community, the adult schools that we serve, and the community colleges, knowing that the adult learner is a very unique type of, learner as well, and just how do we work in order to be able to be more successful in our ultimate jobs of being student-centered and student focused, so that our students get the outcomes that they need. Slide.
I want to jump in for just a second.
Yeah.
When I've been around since the inception of AB 86, which was the planning stages of, and when consortia were first created. And and you may have heard this before from Neil Kelly, his famous line is, we are building the plane as we were flying it. So at that point in time, when we were starting, we had nowhere to go to. We had Neil, and that was it. So it's been a really important process to get to where we are with this, the academy, because we now know what we're doing, and well, somewhat, sometimes we do, but we at least have a group of people that we can turn to now, other than just one person. And we've had Cape Tap, and they've been amazing. And this is just an opportunity for you to connect with others who speak your language.
Thank you, Sherry. So as you can see, just some more of the learning outcomes. We understand that, it's a very politically important, position that you have, and how do you navigate that? Understanding how to work with other people, the importance of relationships, and what that means in your role as a consortia director with your, with your members, with other stakeholders. We go through different things like NOVA and looking at data and TE, and how we go about, looking at this so that we can be more effective in the positions that you are in. And just really just looking at it with an equity-minded lens to make sure that we're serving our students. We deal with a very vulnerable population. How do we make sure that we're meeting their needs and meeting them where they're at? Okay, so the intended participants. So this is, if you're in this room, we're hoping that you're a new or newer consortia lead with 3 years of experience or less. So different names from different agencies. It could be a consortia lead, a consortia director, a consortia chair or co-chair. So this is the intended audience for the CLA. We'll go over, some foundational information to make sure that, you're grounded in the work and you know exactly, what is expected, just in terms of the technical part of the job. So hence, that's why this is really geared towards new and newer leads. And which agencies are able to participate. So it's open to all adult education consortium members. So again, priority is given to those who have 3 years of experience or less. Veteran leads are able to participate if we have room. This year, I believe we had 17 participants. So right around 16 is what we look at. So depending on how many people apply, that will dictate whether or not we're able to offer spots to individuals who have been in their position longer than 3 years. All right, so we're going to do a quick little activity. So for those of you, we know leadership is very unique. Leadership is, all about the individual. It's about creating relationships. It's about how you interact with others. So just what we want to ask you, what comes to mind when you think of a great leader? So if you can go into that, go in with your phone is usually the easiest since you're on your computer, or if you can, to go to www.menti.com and put in that code 33096412. And we're going to ask you for 3 words that you would use to describe someone that you think of, or some characteristics that you think of when you think of a great leader. We've all had those individuals that we think, wow, if I could only be like that. Wow, if I could learn skills to be able to communicate or establish relationships or get trust and buy-in to be able to move my organization forward. Those are the 3 words that we're looking for. So you should be able to go in and you'll have a slot for 3 different words. If you can go ahead and do that now and put in your 3 words.
Yeah, and Holly put the access code and the link in chat for you as well.
So in this, what we're doing is we're, developing a word cloud. For those of you that have used this before, the bigger the word, the more individuals that have used that same word to describe, in this case, a leader. So some of the words, good listener, supportive, a coach, humble, confidence, very important. Again, supportive is a big one. That one keeps getting bigger. Listener, integrity, vulnerable, open. curious, use individual strengths, strategic, emotional intelligence, communicate. You know, again, all these words are great. All these words describe what we hope to be as leaders, or what we've seen in other individuals that we say, wow, I wish I could emulate that and be, you know, as successful in a leadership role as that person is. I know throughout my career, like I said, I've been in education for 30 years and worked with numerous administrators and bosses. And I can think of all the great leaders that I've worked for that just have been an inspiration to me. And also those where I'm like, ooh, I don't want to do that. You know, I want to make sure that that's not the kind of leader that I want to be, you know, the day that I have people who I'm put in charge of and have that, you know, it's a privilege, it's an honor, and it's also a huge responsibility. All right. So again, strategic is getting bigger. Supportive is the biggest one there. Trust is so important. Let's see, anything I'm missing? Motivational, community mindset. You know, especially in the kind of work that we do, how important is the community and making sure that, you know, we're servicing them. And at the end of the day, you know, being vulnerable, I think a lot of times people see that as a weakness, but, you know, in showing your vulnerability, you're able to get more people, you know, to come along on the ride and be able to see your vision and do the right thing and do right by students. So again, like this is just a little something, you know, we wanted to put together. Like I said, the bigger the word is, the more of you that have used it. Part of what we do in the CLA is we do the DISC assessment and we look at each person's, you're able to take this assessment and really see what your individual strengths are, what your, you know, personality characteristics are, and how that plays out when you're working in a team, so that way, you know, the more you know yourself, the more effective of a leader you'll be. So we do spend some time working on that and understanding, you know, our individual strengths as a leader, but also the areas where we could improve, and understanding those same kinds of characteristics and personality characteristics in our team. So knowing, you know, how a certain individual needs to receive the information so that they can be a more effective and a happier member of the team. So thank you for those of you who did that little activity there. All right. So what exactly is it? Okay, so our Consortium Leadership Academy, it has we have three different delivery methods. So we currently this year, as Mandalee said, we're finishing up our cohort. We will finish up in May. We've had 2 in-person meetings in Sacramento. That's what they've been this year. To begin and to end, we've had synchronous meetings as well. So we have check-in points throughout the year where, you know, we meet as a group. We're able to deliver additional material and curriculum, but also as a check-in and a place for us to have a forum where you can discuss issues or challenges or just things that are top of mind at that moment. You know, maybe something's happening with your CFAD and you need some advice. You know, that's a really great place for you to do it. And also we have an asynchronous component. So we use Canvas. It's our learning management system that we use, that many of your agencies may use. And we have modules, and you go through the modules, and the modules have very foundational information, and there are different activities that we ask you to do. It could be posting in a discussion board. It could be completing a quiz, different things directly related to everything consortium. That could be a consortium lead's responsibility. So just really giving you that strong foundational knowledge where maybe you've been in the role for a year, but this is just to help you even have a stronger understanding of, you know, we do a whole lesson on the history of adult ed. And it may seem like, why do you want to do something like that? Well, in order to know where we're going, you know, knowing your past and where we've been and what an important impact that has had on where we're at and what the future looks like for adult ed. Like I said, we look at, you know, leadership skills and competencies are interwoven throughout. So we have different ways. We do like I said, we do the DISC assessment where we look at, you know, individual strengths and challenges, but we also, you know, use different how to deal with tough personas, different activities that we provide throughout the lessons so that you're able to improve your leadership skills and navigate through challenging things. Relationships are the crux of a lot of what we do, and they're also the most challenging to deal with individuals. So how do we learn skills so that we're able to be more effective and you can be more productive consortia leads, knowing that some of you may be working with all administrators, some of you may be working with all superintendents, and a lot of egos can be in the room. And how do you navigate so that you're successful and you're able to really move your consortia forward, move your consortia's agenda forward, and able to stick to the plans and the vision that you have for your area and your community. And again, us as facilitators, I have the adult school experience. James has all kinds of experience in all different areas, focusing a lot in adult schools. Sherry does, she's a consortia director. So we all bring different lenses. Heather is from the community college. So that way we can all see, you'll be dealing with different individuals that all look at all this information and, all the challenges and struggles or wins that they have differently. So we try to all talk, amongst ourselves first to see how we look at something, in the hopes that, if we can share some kind of nugget of information with you, or, we're a resource in case you have questions like, oh, my adult school principal is asking about a WASC, who has any information on that? Or my community college person is asking about this, who might have information on that? And just, if we don't have the answer, trying to help you, find someone or connect you with someone who can help you with that.
Just to add to that is that when we were, as the advisory committee, looking at who would be our facilitators, it was important to find someone who, of course, had great facilitation experience, which was James and Anna Marie, and then someone who has adult ed experience, which is Anna Marie, and someone who's been a consortium lead, which was myself and Heather. And Heather's from the community college side, so we have someone from every area that so we can address all those things that come up in our world.
Thank you. Okay, so what are the benefits? Again, so here, it is a commitment of time. We want you to understand that, you're going to be going probably away, a couple times a year. There will be work. There will be a final consortia handbook that you will finish at the end. So what would be the benefits of doing this? So you gain insight into the program and the knowledge that you really need to be that strong leader that you need to be as a consortia director. Practical application. So we do scenarios. What would you do in this case? How would you handle this? What if you're dealing with this type of personality? How do you work together to complete your annual plan? Looking at trends. We all know, okay, so times were good, money was good, it's not looking so good in the state budget. So how do you prepare for that? How do you work with that? How do you look at something, the new carryover rules and what that means, and how to navigate that in this, in the consortia world? You will be, if you participate in the program, you will get a mentoring. So you will be assigned to one of us, and we'll have monthly, typically monthly check-ins where we can talk about different things. We try to establish a plan so that you can say, okay, these are the areas that I want to work on. Or for example, some of my mentors will call me and be like, hey, I don't understand this. Can you help me? And if I can't, then some of my mentees, if I can't, then I go ahead and I say, oh, I can't, but let me talk to Sherry, and Sherry will have the answer, and either connect with her or provide them with, the answer that they need. And again, like Sherry said, we all collectively have lots of years of experience in adult ed. There's some flexibility in it. Like, we do have asynchronous work that you can do at your own pace. However, there is an expectation that the work does, get done. And like I said, it is a commitment in order to make sure, because there is a time commitment that, has to be present in order for you to really get the full benefit of, the modules that were developed by the advisory team.
And I'll add one thing, next year, don't forget the 3-year plan. The planning process for the 3-year plan will be coming up. So not only will you have a mentor to help guide you or answer some questions, you have, Cape Tap, and then everyone here, you could see the actual, all the participants involved. And we do have a little video, but I'm going to stop sharing because I want to make sure I checked off the little share audio as well. So let me do that for a second. I always forget to do that. So sure sound, here we go. And give me a thumbs up if you can see it, the slide at least. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna click here.
Oh, no. It's the same way in the new ones. What?
Yeah, we probably should.
Okay, so that was just a little clip of our first in-person meeting that we had, and I think I can speak for my facilitator, my co-facilitators here, and it was a great experience. We felt that it was really beneficial to all of the participants, and they had that same reaction. We know time is valuable. We know it's hard to be away from your jobs, from your families, from everything. So we were very strategic in what we presented and how we presented to make sure that it was of the most benefit for everyone in the room, and just really having the participants be really involved. And we talk about being a facilitator and not a preacher about what's going on. So having you involved in the activity so that you can really get the most out of what we were planning and the learning that we wanted to occur with that. So this is just a list of some of the areas of modules, what they include. Like I said, we do leadership, we do program development and evaluation. We have equity laced through different areas of the CLA, team performance. We provide a lot on online resources. So we give you a hub of information so that you're able to reference back to it. So as you work through the modules, you'll see, oh, wow, hopefully you'll see, this is really beneficial. This is where I can go back, or, you've completed module 1 and 6 months later, you'll be able to reference back to something that you saw or learned in the CLA modules, so that you're able to utilize that in your everyday work. Fiscal, we know how important money is, and just really looking at that, looking at how the different consortia do things very differently. And I think that's a great opportunity for us to see, you can meet and you can pair up with consortia that are close to you in proximity. Maybe you want to see someone, you want to meet and talk to someone who has a consortium of a similar size as yours. So it's really providing those relationships for you to see what other of your colleagues are out there, and how you can use their expertise as well to grow in your position. Community and public relations, we know that's huge, right? We have to market ourselves. We have to make sure that students are coming in order for us to have those outcomes that we need to get the funding. Looking at ed code, and are we following all the rules that we need to follow? Legislative activities, mentoring, I mentioned, you will be assigned a mentor. And how the legislative and all of that plays into your role, and the importance of being at that table to make sure that the adult ed voices are heard, and how they're heard, and to make sure that we get the representation that we need. Looking forward in what could possibly be with and funding, data collection and evaluation. How are we looking at the data? Are we making sure that all of our agencies are collecting it properly, and we're all on the same page as far as making sure that we have the strong data, so if and when there is a change, you're prepared to help facilitate that and guide through. Regional networking and priorities, and then just really at the CAPE, looking at the CAPE program areas and guidance. So make sure that we go through the different guidance manuals, so that if you have any questions on any of that, typically you'll find it in those manuals, so that you can be sure that we're doing everything the proper way that we're supposed to be. Okay, so if you were to join, like we said, it is a commitment. Sherry, did you have something to add?
Oh, that's okay. It was my slide. That's
Oh,
right.
go ahead then. It's all you.
It's okay. You can keep talking. You're doing a great job. All right. So active communication. How many of you out there feel like the champions at your schools and the people that you deal with are ones that respond, right? So we're like, oh, wait, they responded. So we want to work with that person because we know that we're going to maybe get something done. So it's really important in this world that you have active communication. In the modules, you'll have some assignments. You'll have to, add something to the chat or ask, I'm sorry, to the discussion board, answer a question, just respond and respond to others so that, in the virtual world, that's all we've got. And the virtual world helps when we all communicate on effectively and on a regular basis. And then participation in all virtual and in-person events. It's really important that you're at and attend all of these because they sort of build on each other. And again, it's part about building relationships with everybody else as well. And completing all of the assignments. Sometimes that's tricky. We're working, this was our very first cohort. And so we're working on making Canvas a little more friendly where you will get more reminders and it's important to keep it's like your homework. You're going to get what you put into it. So the more you put into it, the better outcome it's going to be for you and your consortium and the people that you serve. Again, I already mentioned participating in discussion boards and then meeting with your mentee, your mentor. So there's 4 of us and we divide up all the people kind of based on what your needs are. Like Heather has taken the college people because she speaks that language better than the Anna Marie and I do. So and then if there's like consortium specific questions, Heather and I both have the experience with that. And if there's facilitation and other things like that, then everybody has a piece in this. And we all, like Anna Marie said, we all have each other to lean upon. And the last thing is creating a consortium member and lead handbook. The biggest thing is I lead a consortium of 22 members. It's the biggest consortium member-wise in the state. A lot of people will say it's like herding cats, which it is sometimes, but we have a lot of turnover. We have 15 adult schools, and those adult school people, the administrators tend to turn over. Same with the college people. So every time we have to spend our time onboarding, it's like, okay, wait, what about this? When I used to be like, I'd just write down a list like, oh, I need to talk to this person about blah, 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 blah. So we got smart and we created a handbook. James, you want to bring that up? Thank you. So as part of your assignment with the CLA, with the Leadership Academy, is you will create a handbook for your consortium specifically. And this is a tool that I share and we update every year. And we share this with our members and our new members. And then we also keep it in our a Google Drive repository that is shared with all of our members so that they can reference this. Now, the CAPE website, we have amazing resources. But for me and for our members, it was easier for everything to be in one place. And it just kind of just in succession. So James, you want to just kind of scroll through that just a bit. We put our meeting dates for our board, tells a little bit about who our consortium is, the history of adult ed, our consortium. Actually, move up just a bit, move back. Yeah, right there. To understand SCAPE is what we say, the State Center Adult Education Consortium. We look about the history, right? How do we get to where we are? And one of the biggest things that comes up in our consortium all the time is how are we funded? How come I get this much money and they get more money? So this kind of gives a little bit of the history there, which helps you to answer questions. Because if you are a newer lead, you're probably just, here you go, this is your new job, and you don't know anything. So this is helpful for you as well. James, you want to kind of scroll through just a bit? And talks about the technical assistance project, onboarding tools. So we have links, right? Links that go to all of these things where they can find easily. So this will be your finished product when you at the end. We're actually going to celebrate, and everybody's supposed to have it done by May when we have our graduation. So this is what we've been working on all this year. And our access to our 3-year plan too, because people inevitably, where's the 3-year plan? And you're still going to get people like, oh yeah, can you just send it? Ask Sherry. It's easier for her just to send it to us, which is fine. But if you don't want to go through that, everything is right here. So hopefully this will be very, very, very helpful for you. It might be a little time consuming. you can cut and paste and do whatever you need to from mine, but it's really going to be good for you, and you'll receive a template that you'll work on for your specific consortium. And then
Yeah, and Sherry, how often do you just tell one of your members, oh, just refer to the handbook? Just send them
never.
back to, no, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, when they're first starting, I sit down and I show them everything, and we go through the handbook together, and I reference it. And then what I'll do is they ask me a question, I'll answer and say, here's a link to our handbook, to be very nicely.
Yeah.
It's here. So anyway, we want to show the lead handbook.
Yeah, there we go. And this is the master template that, just like the member handbook, you'll get a template. We just showed Sherry's because she has one that's actively being used. This would be your template for the consortium lead handbook. So think of this one almost like you were writing down everything you know, everything you've learned, in case you need to hand that off to the next person who will be in line. So very, very similar. But what I like about this is it's kind of mirrors what you're going to be learning on Canvas. So as you go through the modules, you are, there's little assignments, you're learning, you're reading, and you could take that information you've learned and then add it to your handbook. And we'll say that a lot in a lot of our modules, is a lot of our lessons is like, yeah, oh yeah, take this and I'll add it to your handbook. So hopefully by the end of the year, which, be in May, of 2025, everyone will have both their consortium member handbook and their consortium lead handbook complete and ready to go. But this is it. Yeah, this is, you could, again, just a template. You can see, make a copy, download it yourself, add your own logo, information, and all that, and it'll look nice
And you
and
could
be
possibly
very
add,
valuable.
sorry, James, I totally
Oh,
interrupted you.
go ahead.
I think it would be really important to put in who if you're direct funded or fiscal managed funded. Our fiscal agent has specific things that, how they need things. So it might be important to add that in there as well, because if you have a new person, oh boy, just having that as a reference point really helps, and who to contact and where to go. And I think that's really important. In fact, I need to work on my own lead handbook because I'm going to retire in a few years. So I need to be prepared as well.
She's been saying that for years.
I know, huh?
Okay, and as you can see, what is the cost to participate? There is those costs to participate in the CLA. All travel, including transportation, lodging, meals, will be paid by each consortium. So your own consortium dollars will cover the cost of transportation, lodging, and meals. And there you go. So it's kind of like a no-brainer. Why not join? And then we have our application timeline. And Mandalee, do you want to take this slide? Because I think you have the link, the application as well.
Yeah, I sure do. Thank you. So the applications are now open. So we would invite you all to submit your application. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. And then, like it says here, they will close on June 15th. Everyone who is selected to be a part of the second cohort of the CLA will be notified by the end of June. And then typically we'll connect the kickoff of the CLA, which was a little bit of that video that you saw, where the cohort will begin in person. And forgive me, you guys might do a synchronous meeting prior to, but then we'll do a direct connected to the directors event in September, where you'll have that day and a half, almost 2 day opportunity to connect with your coaches as well as with your colleagues, and just start the journey together. And if you want, I can share screen and I can show you what that looks like. Let's go ahead.
All yours.
Thank you. Are you seeing everything? Are you seeing the?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, I don't know. My screens went weird for a moment. So with the link, you're gonna, it'll direct you to the website, and this is the online application. So it is all digital. It's really simple and straightforward. simply adding in your name, your address, the consortium name, and then a little bit about you and that personal statement, your leadership experience. As Anna Marie stated earlier, this is something really intended for our newer consortium leads, co-leads, managers, whatever that title might be, to walk through the modules starting from the history and then through all of the different responsibilities that you have as a lead. But if there is room for someone that might be a little bit who's been in the position a little more than 3 years, if there's room, still feel free to complete the application, and we will consider placement if we have space. I'm the first to tell you, no one likes to say no. We always want to take everybody. So if we can, we will. Um, Anyhow, so just kind of, it's just 6 questions really, and then you submit, and it's really just that simple. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing now. And any questions about the application process?
Or any questions about the CLA?
Yeah.
Hello, not so much a question, but just a comment. I think that this is wonderful, and I like how you kind of organize this and develop this and really kind of making this feel like a sense of community. It's more community building among the directors and other consortium leads. So thank you. I think it's a good opportunity.
Thank you. We have a question. Do you know when the in-person meetings will be? I know before the directors event, but after?
So I can answer that. So the director's event is going to be in September. Those dates are still to be confirmed. So once we have that, we'll be able to share that. The potential for another in-person meeting is something that I know has been discussed, but that'll be shared prior to the kickoff of the fall for this upcoming cohort. And then typically the graduation, for lack of a better term, but the last in-person meeting where we all come back together again and then celebrate is going to be about the first week of May. And then honestly, at this point, that calendar and scheduling is something that I think is what the team will be doing once this cohort graduates. Okay. And thank you, Holly. I see Holly is also adding to the chat some upcoming events as well as our evaluation link. And thank you, Renee. So our director, Renee Collins, has joined us. We did give you a nod in the beginning. Thank you for coming. I didn't know if you would like to say anything or speak to your chat.
Hi, everybody. It's really nice to have you on the call today. And I see a lot of new names, some that I also recognize, but it's exciting to see who might potentially be in our second cohort of the CLA. We have an amazing team of 4 facilitators that will just be so supportive to you, especially if you are newer in your role. And I know this because I've heard a lot of people who are currently in the CLA saying what a benefit it has been to them this year, and to be working with their coaches and being able to have that that relationship that extends beyond just, an email to somebody, or it's just a deeper kind of relationship that you develop with your facilitators and coaches. So yeah, we're excited to be back with the second cohort. So thank you. I hope that this has been a positive webinar, and that you've learned more about where we're going. And yeah, we're excited also about identifying the particular, very specific dates of when we'll meet, but we are in the kind of final stages of being able to do that. So
Yeah, just block off the entire months of September, January, May. We're good.
there you go.
Okay, so are there any final questions? I know we have not reached the end of the time that we slotted for this, so there is time if you have any questions or want to get any clarification on any of the aspects that the facilitators covered today. And feel free to come off mute, raise your hands.
Actually, if I may, yeah.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rick. I'm 6 weeks into director at South Bay, so I'm super new.
Yeah.
I was the research analyst for them for 4.5 years previously, though, so I kind of have a sneaky. I'm not super. I kind of get it, but also now a whole new world has opened up to me. In terms of I was just a logistics question that I know I'm going to get asked when I say, hey, I want to do this. And they say, great, how are we paying for it? I think it's one of those mechanism by which a consortia, we're direct funded. So, however we would determine that, any mechanics that I might need to know going into that conversation in terms of how that payment actually takes place. If it's written down somewhere, I can just but just a question about that.
So I can speak to that a bit, and then please feel free to chime in, Renee, unless you wanted to take it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there is no cost to participating or enrolling in the Consortium Leadership Academy to engage in all of the modules. There will be costs associated with the travel.
Mhm.
And likely, and this is maybe where other people can pop in. I know that in the last cohort, when they came through, they connected the travel to the director's event, which was helpful because that
Okay.
is a mandatory event for our directors / managers / co-leads,
Mhm.
whatever that title might be.
That's straightforward enough for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Almost
think
like
too.
a pre-conference session almost. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Renee?
I think too, for some of those standalones, it could help if you are able to put it into your annual plan potentially, or I guess it's too early for your 3-year plan, but if you're able to kind of build that in and kind of that justification, I think that just reinforces that. And then as part of the annual plan to set aside money for your professional development to be able to assist the to better assist your consortium. They're investing in your professional development to be able to be a stronger leader.
And you can also take it to your board, put it as an agenda item, and have them vote on it for you to participate in this, just to kind of cover everything and just have the official board approval.
That's where I feel like we would go anyway, given they may want to even know this going into CFAD. If it's going to come out of my parent school is Campbell Adult and Community Ed. They're the one that hosts my position. So if it's going to come out of them, it may be something, but I think I'll try to get a rough total. If I need any support, I usually bug the amazing Holly when I don't know what I'm doing. So I can always reach out if I say, hey, I think I've got this kind of ballparked, thank you so much. That was super helpful. That's exactly what I needed.
Yes, and feel free, Rick, to reach out anytime you need. We're always here. Okay, so with that, I don't see any other questions. If anyone has had a question come up that you feel like asking, feel free to cut me off. I have posted the link for the evaluation in the chat. Please do just take a moment to give our facilitators some feedback on the presentation. We do use the results to form how we provide professional development going forward, but it's always also very nice for our facilitators to get that direct feedback on the sessions that they have planned and spent time to put together for you today. We did also post links for some upcoming sessions. There's the generic link to our website to view all of them. The one that I directly posted is one that is probably most fitting for this group, which is the Director's Corner, the effective use of the Director's Corner. So if you have not already done so, please go ahead and register for that. That will prove to be a very beneficial session for you. I think that's all we have today. I would like to thank Sherry, James, Anna Marie, Mandalee, and of course Renee for putting this on, for organizing this, for giving a great presentation. As someone who answers all of the emails from the field, CLA is very beneficial, and we have not heard anything but extremely positive feedback from participants. So click on that link that Mandalee dropped if you're interested, submit that application. It's a great opportunity for you guys. And we do miss Heather for not being here today. We do understand that she was not able to, but Heather works just as hard as everyone I just mentioned. So with that, we will go ahead and close out. To our facilitators, do you have any final comments before we close?
I don't think so, other than we like to have fun, right? And we're all very open to any questions, right? There's no question is a dumb question, and we're all in this together to serve our students. So we're here, and we hope you apply. We hope that you're accepted, and we're looking forward to getting to know you.
I agree
Thank you,
with
everyone.
with Sherry. It's been a wonderful experience working with them, and just really, working with everyone. We hope to see you all in the next cohort.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for
Bye.
attending. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.